Exactly what happened before the first offensive snap.
You know, it was a mistake that happened on my side, and just won't happen again. Just not being able to start the game, even finish the game, just but gonna get it better. It won't happen again.
I was just looking at him. I was right here by the two linemen, and I guess I needed to spit, and I wasn't gonna spit on my lineman, and I just spit ahead. And he asked, or he goes, "You trying to spit on me?" And at that point, I mean, I felt like he was insulting me. Like I wouldn't spit on somebody. I'm damn sure not trying to spit on you. Like we're about to play a game.
Why is
You're
that?
not going to spit on the guy that's trying to destroy you. Yeah. I don't think any quarterback in their right mind knows that.
Tedy referred multiple times in the beginning of the show to the point of emphasis. Before the season starts, all of us are on these big conference calls and Zooms with the National Football League, and they point out the things that the officials are going to be watching for. Sportsmanship was mentioned in that conversation, the one that I was in, about 100 times. And here we are. So this is exactly what they don't want.
Well,
it happens
first off, Greeny,
I
I don't care how many phone calls you're on, how many Zooms. Spitting never comes up because it's something you do not expect to happen. This is something that it's not just about football. This is about personal respect, right? This is about humanity. You don't believe that you're going to have players on the field that will disrespect others in this manner. So no matter what calls you get on, what videos you show, you don't feel like you have to show this to grown, adult, professional men to be able to know how to handle whether it's confrontations, arguments, disagreements on the football field.
For sure. This would have been awful a year ago. However, in this case, it leads to my question, Peter, could he get suspended?
Yeah, look, I don't want to be clutching pearls here. The NFL's big target audience is youth right now.
Yes.
That was a flag football, and they want to teach how to play the game, how to play right. When we were on these Zooms about point of emphasis, they were worried about using weapons and gestures in the end zone and saying that's going to be a flag. They didn't even think of spitting to Ryan
because
Clark's
it's
point.
common sense thinking, right?
Can he be suspended? I will promise you this. Roger Goodell in Brazil, watching the game with his inner circle, there was no way they were anticipating the start of the 2025 season to begin with a player spitting on another man. I would not be shocked if there was further discipline.
In my opinion, you can't not suspend this player. You just, I rarely say something like this, but this is the showcase of the NFL to start us after a long offseason where all these fans and all these kids are waiting. And I was at the flag football championships in Canton, Ohio. I called it a couple years ago. It is a huge emphasis for the National Football League to get young girls into football and keep the youth coming through flag football. And this type of sportsmanship, if it's shown on the showcase when everybody is watching, everyone now has to see the example of what happens to a player that does.
It's also, too, though, it's the highest paid football player in the history of the NFL, and it's one of the best young football players in the NFL in the showcase game of the season.
It feels worth pointing out the Eagles' next game is against Kansas City. That is a Super Bowl rematch. And so we'll see if the league chooses to suspend the player for that. Having said that, this tale of two Jalens last night for the Eagles. One of them gets thrown out before the game even begins. And to your point, the other one pitches a perfect game.
I thought he was fantastic. He was perfect. I don't think you could have played better if you were Jalen Hurts. Carried the football team in many ways. And it was certainly the decision-making throwing the football, 19 of 19 when it came to that, which is ridiculous. But it was the legs, and it was interesting to see how the Cowboys defensively played. This is the first touchdown. This is called match coverage, meaning, and RC and Tedy know this, you're going to match where the people are route-wise, and you can't give seams to Hurts or get on different levels if you're the rusher. That rusher goes inside. No one's accounting for it with their eyes to Jalen Hurts. You see it. This is 3rd and 5. There's another version of a match coverage where every defender has a viable option. Now what happens is those 4 defenders get on different planes. Look at how they're each stacked instead of creating a wall in front. You cannot do that. All those defenders are getting displaced. They've got responsibilities in coverage. And once that edge rusher goes inside, Dickerson, meet my thigh, and then the display. Look at the levels. Tedy, you know this. RC, you know this. You cannot do that. And so Jalen was just tremendous. When he saw those guys leave, take off.
And I tell you, among those who were fascinated by watching last night's game was the man everyone has said, oh, look who's here. Stephen A. is come on over here, Stephen A. Come on over and say a quick hello.
Bro, you did not walk in. You didn't walk in here like that. Then all of a sudden the camera comes on and your entire walk changed. You went to your NBA arena walk.
My walk does not change.
Don't do the
Stop
Diego
deceiving
Rigo
the
walk.
public. That's how I walk.
That's not how you
That's
walk
how I
here.
walk.
That's how you walk. That is not.
You see the Hollywood. You see me at General Hospital. You see me here. I just did Good Morning America. That's why I'm here. And by the way, I'm proud of those sneakers that you're wearing. I brought you a new pair. I actually did, because you desperately needed it.
What size?
But when you
What
got it,
size?
I thought it's 13.
Stephen A., give us a quick taste. You got exactly what you wanted. The Cowboys with a deficit.
I don't need to give you tape. Y'all got that covered. Y'all got it covered. What's up, babe? How you doing, babe? You know what I'm saying? Why you frowning at me? You know you love me, bro. I mean, you can't be looking. You can't be looking at the audience and it's nothing but love. Oh my God. I love this man right here. I love this man.
Bro.
I ain't want to interrupt. Y'all do the great show that y'all doing, because I'm learning more. Y'all all teach me football. Damn it, I don't know. Y'all teach me, okay? But they lost. As I knew they would. That's all I'm going to say.
When you said yesterday, you were like, it'll be a competitive game in the first half, remember? And he's like, and then the Eagles will blow them out. When the weather came, I had to go to bed. I was like, yo, he might have literally called this
yes,
game.
I thought it was, but I thought the Eagles were in trouble because I couldn't believe how idiotic Jalen Carter was. I thought he was baited by Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott spit to the ground first, but you can't put yourself in that position and hurt your teammate like that. You just can't do that.
We were just discussing whether or not Jalen Carter could get suspended for another game. This is a league point of emphasis.
I think he deserved it. I think he deserved it. No question about it. I mean, he's a star player, so important to that team. You just can't be that selfish and that immature. You can't do something like that. And as men, we all know this. Yeah. There's very, very few things you can do more insulting than spitting at a person. And we all know who's the number one protected player on a football field?
Quarterback.
It's the quarterback. He spit at Dak Prescott. Like, how stupid can you be? That's just not smart.
Stephen A. Company on the way. Love to see you. Thank you very much. It was just on GNA.
Well, that was not the one. That's much better.
Be suspended. If I get, that text or that call and about that conversation, then we'll handle it as men.
Jalen, when it happened, were you like in a fit of rage, or what was your?
No, I was calm. I walked off the field calmly. I was not mad. That's pretty much. I couldn't really do nothing else. The ref decision is the ref decision on the situation.
You said you weren't last one. Did Jack say anything, or was there anything that just made you walk over there?
I don't know. When things started to come out and you start seeing things, then we can go off that. But I don't got nothing to say about it. I'm just trying to make sure the team's straight.
All right, good to get a couple minutes here with Tedy Bruschi as we continue to sort of peel back on this Jalen Carter situation. Teddy, you're a captain in your playing days with the New England Patriots, to be sure. If you're one of the leaders in this Eagles locker room, what's your message after getting a win, but also potentially losing Jalen Carter now to a suspension for that spitting incident?
Well, once you get over the disbelief of what you saw and what your teammate did, it's just making sure it doesn't happen again, really. I mean, this is something that's got to be one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. I mean, and especially, fellas, in the preseason, the NFL emphasized sportsmanship. So you have your meetings in the team meeting room and your head coach goes over this emphasis, right? They send you tapes on emphasis on what's going to be called. And then this is what happens. This is a total lack of awareness. I mean, there was also a taunting by Nolan Smith. So Nick Sirianni, he's going to reel in his team and say, hey, fellas, we need to push the reset button here because we don't understand that this emphasis is serious. That's what you usually know going into the year. But as a captain, talking to Jalen, I mean, this is a possible suspension because when they emphasize something like this, safety of the quarterback, right, was an emphasis one year. The defenseless receiver, I mean, we're going back even further than that. And then that penalties, suspensions, fines, they'll come out for that. Sportsmanship is what it is this year with the NFL and stuff like this. I mean, this is the opening kickoff before the first play on the signature game that every NFL fan is watching. And there's your sportsmanship in the National Football League. One of your best defensive players spits on Dak Prescott. It's not what you're looking for.
Teddy has played this game. He's been around this game for decades. To make this man make that face of like, what did I just see?
I
Like,
don't even know.
I know. Like,
You can't make this up. You can't make it up, fellas.
if he is suspended, even if just for a game, week 2 is that Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Meanwhile, Cowboys, they allow 158 rushing yards in this loss, 2 scrambling touchdowns by Jalen Hurts, 1 rushing score by Saquon Barkley. Stopping the run was part of Jerry Jones's reasoning for this trade of Micah Parsons to Green Bay. So what did you see from the Dallas defense last night?
And I would say at times they did. They did a very good job of it also. I think Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, made some great adjustments in the second half, sent some pressure. They got some tackles for loss. I mean, a lot of those rushing yards is the quarterback. And that, I mean, a lot of Dallas fans will look at it as that's the Micah effect here when you have a pass rush plan, all right? You got man coverage behind you like this one right here, and you got your edge rushers for a first down. This is, you know, you game plan for these type of rushing yards, but the focus is Saquon, and they bottled up Saquon. They just couldn't execute the plan in terms of finishing on Jalen Hurts. And fellas, it's hard, all right? Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, you can have the perfect defensive down, and I thought at times Dallas did have. They matched the right routes well, but then there's the extra element of a play that you don't game plan.